It's a go be my disguise the stone. What the bullet for long power see you. Oh, why they want to think you go there, champion? I don't think you know. We all know. We all know. I'm a TV, yeah, you don't know. Lost myself and I found my purpose.
Hello, 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 everybody. Happy Sunday. I hope you are all doing well. Hello, 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 everybody. Happy Sunday. I hope you are all doing well. Yo, 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 let's get started right away. So, welcome to the weekly watch list for welcome to the weekly watch list for the week of July 27th. So, I'm going to let's wait a bit. Let's wait for a few guys to join the live stream here, and then we can get started. Right away. So, welcome to the Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the weekly watchlist strategy session for the week of July 27th. My name is Richard J, and I'm going to be the your host for today, and we're going to get started right away. So this week promises to be a jam-packed week here with a lot of mega cap earnings. We have about 8 trillion worth of earnings this week from companies in the mega cap and other mid cap and small caps as well. So without much ado, I'll just get started right away. In the interest of time here. So let's get started. So first of all, let's look at the economic calendar. Or let's go back to last week and see what happened last week. So last week we got the market was able to grind up again and make new all-time highs. So we have the S&P 500 as the ETF that the SPY made new highs, new all-time highs. We have the QQQ that also made new all-time highs. We have the IWM. IWM did not participate in the rally. It was consolidating throughout the week here. So it's just in the trading within the range. Let's look at the Dow, the DIA. The DIA also rallied as well last week. So this week we are looking forward to what's going to happen. Is the market going to rally again, or is the market just going to is the market going to stall out, or is it going to just like continue rallying up and up and up, right? So before we get to the main what we are going to cover today, let's go through the news. What is happening right now is that today we got news that the Trump administration and the Chinese government agreed to extend the tariff deadline for China by another 90 days to give them some time to negotiate, right? Also, there was also breaking news that the US and the EU have agreed to so this is the news here. So Trump announces US and EU reach a framework for a trade deal. So it means that a deal has been struck and they are going to work on it to make sure that everything works out well. So that's great. That's good for the market because the market has already been waiting to see what happens as we approach the August 1st deadline. So for now, it looks like the EU one is good to go. The one for China, I believe they're still negotiating and trying to figure things out. But from the look of things, it looks like they are going to agree on a deal sometime soon. Okay. All right. So with that out of the way, let's look at the catalyst or the economic calendar, what the economic calendar is telling us, what is upcoming this week. So on Monday, we don't have any news catalyst or any economic reports on Monday. But on Tuesday, we do have we have these stuff here. We have the job openings. So job openings is something that is going to move the market in one direction or the other, as well as um, consumer confidence. So consumer confidence data also moves the market. So at 10 a.m., those that are going to be day trading, you have to be mindful of this news that comes out at 10 a.m. Okay. And then the next one is ADP employment data that comes out on at 8:15. So this one is going to come out at pre-market way before the market opens. So we are going to get the news before them. And on Wednesday, the moment everybody's waiting for is the FOMC interest rate decision. This is an important one because the Trump administration, President Trump, has been bashing the Fed chair, that's Chairman Powell, for several weeks and months now that, hey, Powell is late. He calls him too late Powell, right? So he's encouraging him to cut interest rates, and the Fed is saying that, hey, we have to wait to get information about the tariffs to see how tariffs is going to impact inflation before we can go ahead and cut interest rate. But for now, they are in the waiting game. So based on what analysts are thinking, there's not going to be any interest rate cuts in the US in this July meeting, which is going to be on Wednesday, July 30th. But for sure, it looks like there's going to be rate cuts in September. But the market is going to be surprised if the Fed starts cutting interest rates this Wednesday. I believe that's not going to happen. But if it happens, that's good for the market. The market is going to rally and go up. So right now, the market is pricing in a maximum of 2 rate cuts this year, and then I believe 6 or 7 next year. So this year, there's not going to be interest rate cuts for now in July. We shall see what happens. But in September, we are most likely going to get rate cuts in the US. And then on Thursday, we are going to get initial jobless claims. So initial jobless claims is something that the market has been watching closely. So this number keeps fluctuating. Sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down. So this is going to be a key indicator to see whether the US economy is going to a recession or not. So the number that I'm watching here closely is if we're able to get this number to go to 250,000 or more, then that's going to be a yellow flag. But for now, it looks good. It's okay, not bad, but the numbers are ticking up gradually. And then the next thing here is the PCE inflation data. This what the Fed usually uses for its preferred inflation gauge, right? So this number, if this number comes in hot, worse than expected, this is going to move the market in one direction or the other. So the first thing that we need to know is that Wednesday is something that is going to Wednesday's meeting, Powell's press conference. So typically what happens is that at 2 p.m. there's going to be the rate decision from the Fed. And then there's also going to be the press conference, right? So rate uh 2 p.m. is going to be FOMC interest rate decision. That's when they are going to announce whether they are going to cut interest rate or just hold interest rate as it is right now. Okay. So if there's a cut in interest rate, that is definitely going to move the market to the upside. The market is going to be happy that, hey, finally, Powell and his team are cutting interest rate. But if there's no change, then the market will be just waiting and wait to see what Powell has to say. So here is where the action is going to happen during the press conference, when Powell goes to the podium and starts answering questions. So depending on what the way he answers the questions about, okay, why are you guys taking too long to cut interest rate? If they say continue saying, if it sounds hawkish, then that's going to cause the market to sell. But if it sounds dovish, like that hey, we are still waiting for tariffs to come in, but for sure there's going to be something in September that's going to encourage the market, and the market is going to be happy with that. But if it's something that he continues saying that we are not even sure if even if we are going to cut in September, that's not a good sign. That's going to cause the market to sell. So we shall see how that plays out. Okay. Yeah. So knowing this, we are now going to go to the next phase of the live stream here, where I'm going to talk about the upcoming earnings, right? So the earnings is going to play a key role in where the market, the fate of the market, whether it's going to continue rallying or is it going to sell off. Okay. So I'll go to, so we have a number of earnings this week. One of them is going to be the one on, I'll start with Tuesday first. So on Tuesday, we are going to get two earnings, right? It's going to be in the morning. The first one is going to be BA, Boeing. So Boeing, I call it the problem child. Boeing has been struggling for like this year, but I believe that Boeing is coming to a phase where Boeing is looking to break out. So Boeing for the longest time has been trading here. It recently broke a 2019 trend line and it rallied there. So right now, Boeing, what I think is going to happen with Boeing is that Boeing has actually benefited from the trade deals, the US trade deals. I believe Japan said they were going to buy Boeing planes as part of the deal. And also other countries like the Gulf countries have said they were going to buy some kind of Boeing planes and stuff. So I believe that all those things are going to be reported in this upcoming earnings. And based on that, I believe that Boeing, by the end of the week, Boeing should be a $250 stock at the minimum, right? I believe that Boeing is going to beat. It doesn't really matter if they beat or not. All what matters is guidance, right? What is the forward guidance? Forward guidance is basically what the company plans to make next quarter. Do they have some positive deals, like business deals, that they think that is going to do, they are going to get better revenue than what they have right now in this quarter? That's what's going to move the market, right? Because everybody knows that Boeing has gone through their fair share of issues and stuff like that. But I think that with this new earnings, if Boeing is able to deliver, I will not be surprised if we see Boeing at 245 or 265 or 250, right? So here we are seeing that Boeing here from a technical standpoint, this in technical analysis is called like a bull flag, right? So this is a consolidation period. So all throughout this, if you go to the weekly, you can see that Boeing has been Boeing has been trading within this range for the longest time and is ready for a breakout. Okay. So we shall see how Boeing works out this week here on Tuesday. But in terms of if I'm a betting person, I'm going to bet that Boeing is going to go up, is going to rally because it's still undervalued. Look at where it's trading, it's still undervalued. So as long as it can break this trend line, Boeing is going to go right and take off. Okay. All right. So that's the Tuesday earnings. But before we go to that earnings, let's go to the individual ETFs and stuff. So SPY, that's the S&P 500, that's the ETF that tracks the S&P 500, has been rallying nonstop this summer. And the thing is that in the summer months, usually there's low volume in the market. So in a low volume market, the market tends to float up, like tends to move in one direction. If it's just going up, it's just going to continue going on and on and on and go up, right? So so on and on and on is going up and stuff like that. So it's going to continue going up. And then you are going to see that the 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 stock, the ETF will continue floating up until such a time that we have the high volume environment. So right now, the guys that move the market, the smart money, most of them are currently on vacation, right? The guys that move the market, the big banks, the big traders, most of them are on vacation. So we have a very low volume market, and the market keeps floating up. So I believe that the market is going to get to a point where it's going to get to its peak. And right now we see that the market is just continue floating up and keep on going and stuff. We shall see how that plays out in the weeks and days ahead. Okay. So right now, this week, what I'm looking at is I'm looking at SPY. So with the news on the trade deals and stuff like that, I believe that we are going to get a gap up in the futures market once it opens up. And what's going to happen is that we are going to get like something like a gap up where you have a candle that gaps above the all-time highs. And then what can happen is that based on what we see here, like we have this here, we have this like we have this, like we have a candle like this, maybe a green candle. We have a green candle here. And that green candle, like in the morning, we are going to get a green candle. And then we are going to fade this move, right? As in, we are going to get something like buy the rumor, sell the news kind of move, whereby by the end of the day, this could turn red, right? We shall see how that plays out, but most likely we are going to get a gap up because of the news, the China deal news, trade news, and also the EU, specifically the EU one, right? So we shall see how that plays out in the morning once we get once we finish trading the futures overnight and going into the trading day. So right now, from a big picture perspective, right? If you look at the S&P 500, S&P 500 is the weekly chart. It's been trading within this channel. So over here, this is 2008, the high of 2008, and this is the COVID low, right? This is the COVID low, and then we have here as the 2021 highs, bull market highs, and then the low of the bear market in 2022. And then now we are pushing up to this area. So I believe that based on the way the market is going, I believe that we are going to top off somewhere here at this channel. So I'm watching this channel closely, the upper end of this channel, the resistance area very closely. I'm looking at it to see what is going to happen here. I believe that once we get here, that's when we might top off, and then that could bring the bull market to an end, right? So give or take, I'm looking at September, right? Month of August, we'll start getting the sell-off in the market. July, I think we are going to close July on a high note. July is traditionally known to be a bullish month. So we are going to close July on a high note here, close green. And then once August starts, that's when we might start seeing like a pullback, right? So we're going to get a pullback. We're going to start with first maybe a 10% pullback, and then we are going to go from there, right? But by then, maybe perhaps the economic numbers might start changing, and then the US economy might go into a recession. So based on what happens, it all depends on the job markets. If the job market starts showing weakness and we start getting unemployment claims of 250,000 a week or 300,000 a week, then that's going to cause the market to sell off, right? And we are going to get to, I believe we are going to get into a blow off top scenario whereby we get that big move, we pop, and then we got a blow off top. Maybe we can even go above this channel living and then sell from there. So we shall see how that plays out. I mean, as a technical analysis trader, it doesn't matter where the market goes. If it's going up or going down, we shall always find a way to make money from the market, right? So for now, what we are looking at is that we are going to pay attention to this closely to see what happens in the market, right? So yeah, so right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at we are going to look at a few things. So with the S&P, with the SPY, this is going to continue going up, right? From the look of things, it's going to go up, but at some point we are going to get a pullback, and then we shall trade it from there. So I've been asked several times by many traders, okay, now that we are at all-time high, there are no longer any levels to look for, right? So at this point in time, the market does what is called price discovery. I mean, above all-time highs, the market or the stock or whatever you're trading goes into a stage called price discovery. That's discovering new levels. So in order to find new levels, what you can do is that for those of you using TC2000 or those using TradingView, there's an indicator called pivot points. PIV pivot points over here. So with pivot points, it can help you determine what's the next levels. So over here, those using TC2000, you can edit it, right? You can make changes to it. We already know the support levels. We don't need pivot points to let us know the support level. So we are going to take this out, take this one out, and this, right? So at least we only know we can keep the top one to let us know what is going on there, okay? So over here, we can see that the next level is over here, 644, 643 something. That's the next level. That's a weekly level, right? So we just keep it this way, like a weekly level, this area. So at least that can help you to determine where we are going next so that you can plan accordingly and use it for your trading purposes, okay? So you can do that as well for QQQ as well to figure out what was the next stage and where are we going next, okay? So again, the indicator name is pivot points, and you can always edit it to just focus on the resistance levels, the ones that you don't know. The ones that we know already, those ones we can determine them manually, okay? All right. So what I see here for this week in summary is that on Monday, Tuesday, we might just have a gap up in the morning, and then possibly we can fade or we have a small consolidation day. Tuesday, we can also consolidate and wait for Wednesday's FOMC meeting. If FOMC comes and is positive and is dovish and is good, then the market can continue going up. But if the Fed shows like a hawkish stance, then we are going to get a sell. Then the sell is going to start, right? Because the market is too extended. It needs to sell, right? It needs to a healthy pullback which is going to be needed to help it go higher if it wants to go higher. Okay, so that is the SPY. The next one is QQQ. So QQQ, I'll go to the weekly time frame. So on the weekly time frame here for QQQ, I see, so I call this, so this is called a megaphone pattern, right? Megaphone, right? Megaphone. So like, if you're having those big megaphones, right? That's how it looks like. So this is typically a bearish megaphone pattern, right? Bearish megaphone pattern in the sense that I expect this to go all the way here to the top, hit the top of this megaphone, the resistance here, this trend line, and then we are going to get a sell-off, okay? So if the recession hits, this is going to lead to the sell-off, okay? So here, we have this move here, which has been brilliant so far. This is a weekly, and then this is what we get here. So monitor this closely. So if you have a weekly chart and you have a whatever you're using, TC2000 or TradingView, make sure that you have this marked on your chart, right? That is where I believe that the market is going to top off, and then we are going to get into the market sell-off, right? So for now, I'm going to be watching this area closely. So it's around, on the QQQ, is around 588 or 590. Oh my gosh, that's really far away, right? So we might see that happen like as we push maybe sometime in August, or maybe this week we are going to continue pushing if everything is great, and then we are going to get the sell from there, right? So anyone that has been following my master classes and live streams, you know that I called the market bottom here in April over here. I told everybody in our mastermind group that, hey guys, we are going to go back to all-time high, and we are now at all-time high. So I also believe that we are going to get a blow off top. So the blow off top, it can happen somewhere here. I don't know where it's going to happen, but this is going to help us to gauge. And then if the labor market shows signs of weakness and we are getting 250,000, 350,000 300,000 job losses a week, then the recession is going to hit. And once the recession hits, I believe it's going to be like a global bust, right? Similar to what happened in the great financial crisis in 2008, but it might not be, it's not mortgages, it's not subprime mortgages, right? It could be something else, right? So again, I think that is going to be like something to do with credit crunch or something like that, US debt or something of that sort. We are going to see what happens. But the markets, the US economy, all over the world, all economies are suffering, right? The EU is struggling, Germany is in a recession, China economy is struggling, Canada is also struggling. The only man standing, the only economy standing right now is the US economy. So immediately the US economy gets into issues or gets into a recession, is going to affect the global economy, right? So we are going to get to what I call a global bust, right? Which is going to cause a recession. So once the recession hits and it's affecting globally, then it's going to cause the market to crash. But for now, we are just trading what we see until we get to the point. But we are very mindful of what we are doing. So this is not the time to go crazy, to be buying all sort of things, because in the media, everybody's telling you we are at all-time high. This is the right time to buy, and euphoria and stuff. No. This is a time where you have to be cautious, and then you have to raise cash, right? Because once the recession hits, all those stocks that are trading at astronomical values are going to sell off significantly. Okay. So this is what I see here with this megaphone pattern. So we should watch this megaphone pattern very well. Okay. So next one I'm going to look at is the IWM. No, DIA first. DIA, that's the Dow Jones, right? Dow Jones index. So Dow Jones, right now we are seeing that the Dow Jones is now at also close to all-time highs, putting in like this triple top. So I believe that it might just crack and go up. With the news coming up that the US have some kind of trade deal, is going to cause the Dow to also push and go up as well. And it's going to help the Dow stocks to also do well. All right. Okay. So next one is IWM. So I look at the IWM as the real economy, right? I mean, mega cap like NASDAQ and QQQ, you have stocks like Meta, Apple. These companies are trillion-dollar companies, right? They are very profitable. So it's not a good benchmark to measure the economy, right? The Russell 2000 has a lot of small companies that some of them are struggling, some of them are doing okay, some of them are profitable, etc. So if you look at this, the SPY is at all-time highs. QQQ is at all-time highs. DIA is at all-time highs. The only one that is not at all-time highs, which is lagging behind, is the Russell 2000, where it has the small cap stocks, right? If you look at it, it's nowhere near all-time highs, right? And it's still pushing. So what's going to happen is that if on Wednesday the Fed cuts interest rates, what's going to happen is that that's going to benefit the IWM, right? Because there's a lot of companies out there that are not profitable in the IWM, who have a lot of debt, a lot of loans and stuff, and they are paying astronomical interest right now. So if they cut interest rates, it's going to help the IWM and the stocks there. So you are going to see a rally. So here, I see like a breakout happening sometime soon. In this beginning of the summer, I told members of our mastermind, I told them that we are going to get a small cap summer. So far you've been seeing stocks like Open, you've seen stocks like Bow, stocks like all sort of like small cap stocks just rallying crazy, right? That's what happens when we get a breakout in the IWM. Okay. So now when I go to the daily, I believe that IWM will get a breakout this week. If the rate cuts sounds like dovish or something like that happens, we are going to get a breakout. At least IWM, I expect it to come to $230 this week if the breakout happens. Okay. Then the next one is Bitcoin. So in terms of the market sell-off, when the market sell-off starts, I'm going to be watching Bitcoin very well, because always Bitcoin is a risk asset. So once market sells off, people are start going to be exiting risk assets like crypto. they're going to be selling these things, right? So Bitcoin has led the way throughout the recovery from Liberation Day in April. It has led the way. It got to all-time highs first before the Nasdaq and the QQQ and then the S&P. So it's going to lead the way again once the sell-off starts. So once the sell-off starts, you're going to see that Bitcoin and crypto are going to sell off. Right now, we are in the crypto season called the alt season, altcoins, right? Whereby all sorts of coins just go up. So anytime we are in this season where we are getting to the season of euphoria and excitement and stuff like that, whereby your next door neighbor who doesn't know anything about stocks or crypto is telling you buy this, buy that, you know that the end is near, right? So in the financial markets, you always have to think the opposite of things. Everything that you know, you have to flip it to the opposite. When everybody is excited, that's when you have to be selling and stocking up cash. When everybody's fearful, that's when you have to be buying, right? So over here with Bitcoin, I see Bitcoin forming this bull flag here. So as long as Bitcoin is able to hold this 20 SMA here, it's going to push. So perhaps this week, if Powell is positive, Powell's press conference is good, I see Bitcoin rallying and breaking this bull flag. But if it doesn't and it breaks this 20 SMA, then Bitcoin is going to sell, right? It can sell and come to 109. But this year, this pattern here is more likely to go up than to go down. This is halfway through. It just needs to gap up above this and then crack this and go. Okay. So that's the Bitcoin scenario. Okay. Then the next thing I'm going to watch is I've been watching the VIX. So the VIX is a volatility index that tracks the SPY or the S&P 500. Okay. And the place that the VIX is right now is a very scary area. Okay. So if you look at the VIX, VISS VIX, right? Look at the VIX. So the VIX spiked up here. This was in August. So here, this is due to the Japanese carry trade, right? Which caused the market to sell off by 10% in one day. So that caused the VIX to spike. And then we saw that again during the trade wars, the Liberation Day tariffs. We got that on April 7th, which was the low of the year, right? On this low of the year, at this point in time, I told members to buy all their favorite Magnificent Seven stocks and a number of stocks, and because we are going back to all-time high. So right now, so look at the VIX as the opposite of the SPY. So anytime the SPY is going up, the VIX is selling. And right now we are at February lows. See this February here, this one? This February, right? This is the low. So in February, we got the VIX move from, it did almost 80% move. And right now we're at February lows. So if on Wednesday or anytime this week, maybe it could be the mega cap earnings, maybe Apple missing or Amazon or something, and Powell being hawkish, we might get a reversal, right? If we get a reversal, because this is here at a key level, key support level where I expect that it's going to get some bid and it's going to start reversing, right? If this starts reversing and catches a bid, you have to know that the market is selling. Okay, so I'm watching the VIX closely. So if it doesn't hold this area, if it continues selling, I believe this week, because of the tariff news, it might continue selling or it might just consolidate, right? So this $11 level or $12.66 is an area where I'm going to watch to buy the VIX, like VIX calls. So if you want to hedge your portfolio, you can buy VIX calls or you can just buy the SPY puts or QQQ puts, right? So I'm watching this closely to see if this level is going to hold for us to do a reversal, right? And that means that if you see a reversal here, if you see a green VIX, that means that the market is red. Okay. All right. So that's the VIX. So I just wanted to point this out to show you guys that we are at a critical level here. And this is the same level as February lows. So February lows on VIX is going to be an area to watch and see if we can reverse from them. All right. So next ticker I have here, next thing I have here, now that we've gone through the ETFs and stuff like that, let's go through the key stocks that I'm watching for this week, right? So on Wall Street, there's something called as the semis go, so is the market. as the semiconductors go, so is the market. So I'm watching NVIDIA very, very closely, right? If NVIDIA starts showing weakness and gives up and starts selling, you know that, hey, the music is coming to an end. The music has stopped, okay? If NVIDIA continues going up and continues rallying, I'm sorry, the market is going to continue rallying, right? So here we have let's look at the NVIDIA, right? So if you look at NVIDIA closely, let me take off these lines and let's do the same thing that we did for the QQQ, right? So NVIDIA also has a megaphone pattern forming. Actually, is at the top, right? NVIDIA is at the top of the megaphone pattern over here. So NVIDIA 2. So here, this is a megaphone, right? This is a weekly. So this is what NVIDIA is showing. See here, boom, 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 right? This is a hammer candle on the weekly, right? If you have a hammer candle forming wide, extended, right? Extended to the upside, right? You are going to get a decline. So in our programs, in our bootcamp courses, there's a concept called Rich's Law of the financial market. It states that anytime you have like stocks or financial assets, it could be crypto, or it could be ETF, it could be futures. I don't care what you're trading, right? They move from the narrow state to the wide state. So right now, NVIDIA is at the wide state, right? It's super extended. So anytime you get something in a wide state like that, it always pulls back and retraces. Typically, it's going to retrace first to the 20 SMA, and then it could see if it could reverse from there or it could continue selling, right? So NVIDIA is at a very critical level now, and it's really extended, okay? And it's putting in this hammer candle. So in this way, because it's extended, this hammer candle can look like it's going to lead to a sell if the sell takes place, okay? So for now, because the market is going up and trade news, everything is nice, we are seeing NVIDIA continuing, right? But the SMH, the SMH, which is the semiconductor ETF, is showing us signs that the cracks are about to happen. We are close, okay? So for me as a trader, I'm going to be watching NVIDIA very, very closely. If NVIDIA starts selling, you know that the market is about to sell. Why? Because NVIDIA has been the stock that has carried the whole market on its shoulders, right? The reason why we are at all-time highs, or we got to all-time highs early, was because of NVIDIA, because of AI and stuff like that. So if the crown jewel of the market starts selling, then all the small companies, because NVIDIA is the most, what's it called? Is the number one company in the world in terms of market cap, right? 4 trillion, right? Is the number one company in the world. So it's more valuable than Apple now. Apple used to be the main guy, but now NVIDIA has taken over to be the new king on the block, okay? So once the main guy starts selling, you know that the market is going to sell. So I'm going to be watching NVIDIA closely to see what happens to it, where it goes from here. NVIDIA has earnings sometime in August. It usually has its earnings late, but we have semiconductor companies like AMD. ARM is reporting this week, and the biggest shareholder of the stock ARM, the semiconductor stock ARM, is NVIDIA, right? So if ARM beats earnings and is good, then NVIDIA is going to rally, okay? So we could get NVIDIA continue rallying, maybe break this, and then start reversing from there. We shall see how it goes. So I'm going to be watching NVIDIA closely this week. It's going to be something that I'm going to be day trading with the day trading group. We are going to be trading this live Monday to Friday. So depending on what this shows me, this is showing like NVIDIA is ready to sell. I see a double top here. This is a double top, right? And this like a kind of a top and tail, tiny top and tail candle. So we can get more downside in NVIDIA in the days ahead. But again, there's catalysts, there's news and stuff that pushes this, continue pushing this up, but it's going to come. The time is going to come where NVIDIA is going to sell. So right now, you just have to trade what you see and manage your risk accordingly. Okay. So the next one is SMH. So everyone here should be watching the SMH very closely because that's the ETF that tracks all the semiconductor stocks. And as the saying goes in Wall Street, as the semiconductors goes, so is the market. If SMH starts selling off or NVIDIA starts selling off, you know that the market is going to sell. It's not going to hold. Okay. So over here, we have the SMH. So if you look at this pattern recognition, if you look at this, the SMH has been trading above the 20 simple moving average, which is the purple line, since April, right? Since April here, it has been holding here. It came here, it bounced, it came here. So it's still holding this now. So last week, what we got was let me put back the lines. So last week, we got this move here. Actually, let me take off the lines, right? So if you look at this, if we do a trend line, we start from the bottom. That's the low of the year here and stretch it up. So we touch here, this goes here and then goes there. So we see that we have cracked the trend line, the uptrend, okay? The uptrend has been tempered with. This is the uptrend, right? So the uptrend has been tempered with, right? So now it is holding the 20 SMA, okay? So this here looks like a tiny little bear flag, right? Looks like a tiny little bear flag, okay? If anytime this week we break below the SMA 20, then you can bet that we are going to go down. The market is going to sell, right? So I'm going to be watching this purple line. I'm going to mark it here. Let me mark it here. The approximate location is 285. So I'm going to mark this area here well, and I'm going to be watching. If this breaks 285, let me know so that I can short the SMH 285. There you go. I put my alert. All right. If we get something like this, we can get, if this week is a bearish week, Powell shakes the market and causes the market to sell, I can confidently say that this is going to sell. It's going to break down to the downside. Because for the longest time, this has been trending up, it has been going up and up and up. So an area where you look to, an area of critical interest is 281. This is a key support, like this low of this day, this area, low of this day here, low of this. So it's an area of interest. So if we're able to break the 20 SMA, first profit target is going to be 281. That's if you're buying put options. Next profit target is going to be here, 278. And then we can go on and on and on, right? So perhaps we might come somewhere here. If the sell-off is intensive, we are going to come somewhere here to 272. But that might not be just this week. It could be just a couple of weeks, maybe in August, right? So anybody who is a trader here or an investor or whatever it is, you have to be watching the SMH, right? Watch the SMH closely and see what the SMH is doing and just watch it. And if we break this, then it means that we are going to go down. It could also recover. It could also go up again. It's done that several times, right? It could do this, but it could recover and then it can bump its head into this trend line and then sell. So we shall see how that plays out with the SMH this week. Okay, shall see how it plays out this week with the SMH. Next on my radar here is so I'll now go to the individual stocks for the earnings. Okay, so earnings, and I'll give you my earnings prediction for certain stocks based on my research and what I've done so far. So on Tuesday, I talked about BA already. So BA, I expect BA to be like a $250 stock at minimum by the end of the week. That's my low estimate, or 245 minimum. Then another one that is going to be presenting on, by the way, Boeing presents its earnings, reports its earnings in the morning. So it's going to be at pre-market. So we are going to get the message, we are going to get the news at pre-market on Tuesday morning. So on Tuesday morning, those that are trading with us live, we are going to look to trade the earnings reversal on Boeing if it presents itself. Another one that I'm watching for earnings is PayPal. So PayPal is going to influence the credit sector, right? So this sector of the stock market is influenced by interest rates. So once interest rates start going down, services like PayPal is going to benefit because of they're giving people like buy now, pay later kind of services. They are going to benefit from this. So going into earnings, PayPal is looking for a breakout. It's poised for a breakout. So you look at this trend line. If PayPal is able to break this trend line, like break 78.81 or 79, I believe that PayPal is going to move. So with the interest rates cuts coming sometime in September, I'll not be surprised to see PayPal do well in the earnings, and that's going to cause this to rally and break out from here, right? We shall see how that plays out. I mean, PayPal has struggled in recent years because there's a lot of competition now. So we shall see how that works out on Tuesday. But I'll be looking to trade this as an earnings reversal trade on Tuesday morning. So I'll put an alert here and set it ready to go. Okay, so that's PayPal Tuesday. So Wednesday we are going to start getting the mega cap earnings, the main guys, the guys that control the market. So we are going to get Meta. Okay, so if there is a mega cap stock that I really trust when it comes to earnings, it's Meta. Right? Company that is a solid company that beats earnings all the time, like is Meta. So I believe that Meta is going to beat earnings as usual, and they're going to talk about their AI developments, their projects that they're doing. So what they've done is that Meta has managed to get the top developers and the guys who created ChatGPT to come and join their AI team. So they are building a world-class team for their AI component of their business, right? So I believe that. So here we have so this is a bull flag, right? This is a big flag, this channel here. I believe that we are going to break out, and I will not be surprised if Meta is back at all-time highs post earnings. Here, somewhere here, over here, for 747 or 750. So Meta is one that I'm going to be looking closely on Thursday after the earnings to see if we can catch a good trade on it, a good day trade on it. But in terms of earnings, if I'm a betting person, I'm going to bet to the upside. I believe Meta is going to beat and it's going to go up. Okay. Next one is Microsoft on Wednesday. Sorry, Microsoft is at all-time highs. So any kind of move I believe any kind of move has already happened. Okay. So even if Microsoft beats earnings, I don't think the rally is going to last. It could rather sell off, right? So if you look at this is called an upsloping trend line. If it wasn't because they had earnings, I'll be shorting Microsoft, right? I'm not going to short something when it's in earnings, right? So here, Microsoft, I believe that even though they beat and everything is good, it's still going to close red, right? That can happen. So don't be surprised to see Microsoft down, even if they beat earnings. Look at Microsoft. If you look at the weekly, how many weeks? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 weeks. That's too much. Too much rally, right? So, and in the stock market, the number 13 is significant, right? We can get a sell-off from here. So I'll not be surprised. So again, if I'm going to betting with earnings, I'm going to say that Microsoft is going to close red, right? Even though the beats earnings is going to close red, right? And we shall see how that plays out, okay? And this is an upsloping trend line. Usually 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch, it usually sells, right? Unless we get a big breakout to the upside. So Microsoft, I'm looking at, they are going to do well in earnings, but it's already priced in already. So it's going to be buy the rumor, sell the news, right? Once the news comes out, okay, we know that they have good earnings. We know that the guidance is good, but this is too extended. I want to put money on the side, sell at the top. Then that's what's going to happen. You are going to get the sell-off. Okay. All right. So that's Microsoft. Then Wednesday is the part that I'm really like skeptical about on Thursday, because Apple has too many issues. Apple is the only stock in the Magnificent Seven that hasn't participated in the rally, in the recovery, right? If you look at this, Apple has been trading within this channel, this area. If you go to the weekly, for how many weeks? Apple has been trading within this range. It has been trading within, from here, this is the lower end, 190, and the upper end is 216. So from 190 to 216, it's been trading there since 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, right? 15 weeks, right? There's like 15 weeks is close to 4 months. If you add one more week to it, like next week, this week, it's going to be 4 months of trading the same channel. So what can happen is that because maybe the expectation for Apple is low, they just need to come out and give an okay earning, something that is good, and say that okay, they are working on their AI. So Apple is behind when it comes to AI, right? They've been left behind by Microsoft, they've been left behind by Meta, they've been left behind by everybody. So now they are playing catch up, right? But I think that at some point they can resolve that and find a way through that. So with Apple, what I think is going to happen is that Apple, although maybe they might not report good earnings, but because the expectation is low, it might cause them to go up or it might rally. But I don't think Apple is going to do well. So I'm bearish on Apple going into earnings until they post their earnings, right? So we shall see how that plays out. But from a technical standpoint, the longer the consolidation, the bigger the move, right? So Apple can come with a nice story and say, hey, we now did this some AI stuff, something that is good for the market, that's going to cause the market to rally, and then it goes get this to rally. And then again, you know that if Apple rallies and Microsoft goes up and things, it's going to cause the SPY and QQQ to rally. So I'm going to be watching Apple keenly to see how they perform in the earnings. Okay. Next on my list is Amazon. So Amazon is doing well in the AI space as well, cloud computing and all that good stuff. So Amazon, if you look at Amazon is very close to all-time highs here. It's been consolidating here. So we captured a swing trade here with members of our mastermind. We captured the swing trade. So this is a bull flag and we got a breakout last week. I believe that Amazon will be at all-time high post earnings. It's going to beat earnings, and because we had Prime Day, and I think Prime Day was good in the month of July. We are going to report it, and I believe that once it's reported, we are going to see Amazon get to all-time highs. So Amazon, if I'm going to be a betting person, I'll bet to the upside that is going to go up close green. So if these earnings things play out and it's favorable, then definitely it's going to get the market to rally, right? But if maybe Amazon disappoints, Apple disappoints, and Microsoft, then you know that the market is going to sell. For Meta, I believe it's going to do well. If he also fails, then it's going to cause the market to sell as well. So those are the things I'm looking at moving into the week here this week, and we shall see how that plays out. So there's going to be lots of volatility this week in the market with the earnings, with the FOMC, with the economic catalysts like PCE inflation data, all that good stuff. We shall see how that plays out. And also, we're also going to get I think Canada and US trade deal thing is the deadline is August 1st, right? And August 1st is Friday. So we are going to get news on that front as well. So if it comes up that the tariffs is still on, then I believe that that's going to have a negative effect on the market and it's going to sell. So we should just keep our eyes and ears open and see what happens in the news in regards to the the tariffs between US and Canada. Okay. So now I'll go to individual stocks that I'm looking at. So if PayPal beats earnings, then a stock like Upstart, which is also an interest rate sensitive stock, is like a buy now, pay later service. They give out loans to people. Upstart is going to do well. So Upstart, I'm watching Upstart here. So Upstart has been rising. It did well last week. And here I can see this looks to me like a bull flag, right? So it is a flagpole and this consolidating. if PayPal beats earnings, I expect this to push, right? So I expect Upstart. Upstart is going to be one of my main watches this week for like day trading. I'm going to watch it and trade it accordingly here. They have earnings in the first week of August, so this could be a good one for a day trade. Okay, so Upstart breakout this week, and if interest rates news is positive, and you are going to see Upstart, IWM, you are going to see PayPal, and all these stocks rally. Affirm, another one in the same family, in the same credit family, is Affirm. So Affirm has put in what looks like a head and shoulders. So it is your head, left shoulder, right shoulder. So again, if the interest rate news comes out positive, it's going to nullify, invalidate this invested and shoulders, head and shoulders, right? We shall see how that plays out. So you have here, you have this as your head, left shoulder. Head and shoulders are usually bearish, right? Bearish patterns. But we shall see how that plays out in the days and weeks ahead here. Okay. All right. Next stock I'm looking at is that Celsius. So Celsius has been doing its thing. Those in our mastermind group, I alerted a swing trade on this a while back, way back in June. And I mentioned that I was looking to we got September 19th $50 calls. And I believe that Celsius has earnings coming up, not this week, but not this coming week, but the next week. I believe that once all is said and done with the earnings, I believe Celsius will be a $50 stock, right? Sometime in August or in September. And this is looking nicely for a breakout. So here, if Celsius breaks above this $47 level, it's going to be off to the races and we can finally get the $50 magic number, right? So here, there's a gap, there's a little gap here at 49.55. So I believe that if we can get it to come here, that's going to be good. So as part of my key watch for this week in terms of day trading, I'm going to be watching Celsius for a breakout from here. Okay. Next one I have is AAPL, right? So this here is a tech stock. And if you look at it, you have this triangle pattern here, wedge pattern. It's like, so these patterns, right? These are neutral patterns, okay? Because it can break to the upside or break to the downside. So imagine you have like a toothpaste. You see the toothpaste, when you're pressing it, the paste comes out from the tip, right? That's a similar thing here. So it's getting squeezed in the middle of this triangle and getting to the apex of the triangle, the top of the triangle, right? So at some point, it's going to squeeze to one direction or the other. Whether it's going to go up or go down, who knows, right? But this could go either way. It could go upside or it could go a downside. So we shall see if it's able to break above this 50 simple moving average, then we are going to break out and then crack this first trend line and crack this second one, right? If it shows weakness, then it's going to crack down and go to this support trend line and this other one and then go down further, right? So AAPL is a stock that I'm going to be watching for any kind of breakouts this week or breakdown, whichever one, right? And another one I have here is a stock that everybody was buying long. And I mentioned here in one of the weekly watchlist videos that the party is going to come to an end soon. And here we are, the party has come to an end. So here you have Powell, right? This is a new IPO that just IPO'd in March, and it just kept on going up and up and up and up, right? And eventually I said that when the music stops, we are going to see this pullback. The music has stopped and we are seeing, look at this devastating sell from here to here. What? Almost 40% sell-off, okay? So here, this stock can continue selling. At least I expect it to come to 104, 104. Once it gets to $104, if it's able to hold, then it can try to make a comeback. But for now, this is going to continue selling until further notice, right? Until it shows signs of strength. So over here, we have the, so this is a measured move. Let me see what I can find here. So here you have head and shoulders. So if you calculate the measured move from here to here, yeah, it should bring us to here. So the next target is 104. So the measured move from the highs of the head and shoulders to the base. So I put my base somewhere here. Is going to be, you move the measured move and bring it here to the right shoulder area is going to be here, 104, somewhere in 104. So I believe that this is going to come to 104 area. So this area here is area of demand where price must hold. If it doesn't hold, then this can continue selling, right? Because there's a lot of price imbalance here that needs to be filled. And once it does that, this can come down crashing very hard. And then once the market shows weakness in August and September, this thing is going to be finished, right? It's going to sell. It's already selling when the market is strong. Imagine when the market is weak. All the guys who bought this are going to start running away. So don't be surprised to see this at $65 sometime soon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put here an alert for me for trading purposes, 112 alert, and let me know so that I can take action, right? So this is still bearish, looking for a short to 104. Once we get to 104, we can determine whether it's going to reverse or not. But that's an area of interest because you see here, the last time price came here, we got a bounce. So most likely it's going to do the same thing in the future. All right. So I've called with, and in the semiconductor front, I have AMZN from problem child to superstar of the semiconductor industry, right? When AMD was here, telling members buy AMD, right? Buy AMD. If you can afford AMD, you can buy the leverage ETF, which is AMDL. AMDL. AMDL came all the way to this area. This was what this was April, right? So from April, this went to the low was $2 and it came all the way to here to 11. So if you bought it for $2 and you get that thing for $12, that's a significant return, right, on investment. Okay, so this is a leverage ETF for AMD. So anytime AMD moves up by 1%, this moves up by 2%. Okay, so AMD this week is showing strength. So what AMD is doing, AMD is pushing up ahead of earnings, right? If you go to the earnings whisper, we can see when AMD is having its earnings. So let me go to earnings whisper. So this is a website where you can check and find all the stocks and when they are reporting their earnings. So if you look at this, you can see that all of them are lining up. So you can type in here, easy ways to type in here. AMD is going to be not this coming week, next week, the following week, Tuesday. I believe that from now to that time, we are going to get a pre-earnings run. At a minimum, I'll not be surprised if I see AMD at 186 before earnings. And then once the earnings come and it's good, AMD could be trading at all-time highs again, right? Or it could be buy the news, buy the rumors, sell the news event. That's also possible. Okay. So yeah, so that's AMD. AMD still is a bullish move. And then if ARM beats earnings on, when do they have earnings? On Wednesday, it's going to benefit AMD and the semiconductor stocks. If ARM does not do well in earnings, it's going to affect AMD. But I believe that AMD is still going to be trading above this trend line. Regardless of what happens, AMD is going to be trading above this trend line. So right now, the guys that bought NVIDIA and sent NVIDIA to all-time highs, NVDA, NVDA, they are taking their money and putting it here. Because, I mean, right now, how far can NVIDIA go to? You don't know, right? It's at all-time high. So if you made money, you pull some of the money out and you put it in something like AMD, which is yet to go to all-time high. Then once it gets to all-time high, you can decide what you want to do. Okay. So AMD is going to be good for a day trading session this week. And it's looking very bullish. Okay. Next one I have on my radar here is another interest rate sensitive stock. FSLR. So that's this like in the solar industry. So solar stocks have been struggling due to the Trump administration, due to the big big beautiful bill, right, which was passed, and that removed all subsidies that were going to solar companies. And solar companies are interest rate sensitive because most of the time people, when they sell their solar panels to people, they give them, it goes on credit, right? So buy now, pay later kind of moves. They go and take credit from either the bank or some kind of institution. So these companies are prone to interest rates. So if interest rate goes down, it's going to benefit these companies because then more and more people can buy solar panels to put in their house, right? Okay, so the earnings for this is Thursday, July 31st. Okay. So I believe that this, in the solar space, this is the number one company, First Solar, right? So if Wednesday's decision is positive in terms of Powell comes out and says something dovish and it's positive that, hey, there's going to be interest rate cut in September, you are going to see, we are going to get the breakout here. So this is a weekly trend line for this weekly trend line. So we see this here. This can break out, and I'll not be surprised if we see by the end of the week we see FSLR at $200 or 198, right? So here we have the inverse head and shoulders on the weekly, and this is forming a cap and handle. So this is a cap here. So one cap, another one, and then boom, we are going to take off, right? So this has earnings on Thursday. So usually if a stock has earnings in a week, in a particular week, I don't day trade it until after the earnings, right? Because I don't want to buy high premiums, expensive contracts, right? I want them to finish reporting, and I can scoop up the cheap stocks as well, and then trade them. They trade them, right? Because by then, those that did earnings lotto, their contracts would have been blown out, and it would have been like crashed with IV. So you can get them very, very cheap, and then you can trade it accordingly. Okay. Okay, so FSLR is something I'm going to be watching. Next one is I'm going to look at the Chinese stocks. So Chinese stocks are doing well. Make Chinese stocks great again, right? They are doing well. So in the swing trading alert service, we captured this beautiful move on Baba from here. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? 17% on the equity, right? On the options, it did like 200, 300%, right? Depending on your expiry, right? We bought time on this, and members are still holding some as runners, right? And here, what I see here is that, so we broke this trend line. This is a March 2025 trend line. We broke this. So this, I expect this to come down to back to the scene of the crime, right? Over here. At least it can hold here and then go. Okay. But knowing Baba and Chinese stocks, they are prone to gap ups and gap downs. So if you look at Baba, like if you want to learn about gap fills, you should use Baba as an example. Look at all the gaps all over the place, right? And with the news that the US and China have extended the trade deal to more 90 days, additional 90 days, I expect to see Baba gap up on Monday, right? I'm expecting to gap up on Monday. So you can do that kind of gap up where it's going to gap up above 123. And then if that happens, it can hold and then break out. So I'm expecting Baba to come to 125-ish. And there's a gap fill here somewhere, or 130. I believe that it still has room to go. And once I believe that Donald Trump is planning to go to China. The Chinese president has invited him to come to China. And I believe that if that happens sometime soon, we are going to see Chinese stocks continue to rally. So right now, typically based on historical data in the first Trump administration, one of the sectors that did well was Chinese stocks and solar stocks. Okay. But I believe that it's going to do the same thing again this time around. And I will not be surprised if we see Baba at 134 sometime soon. And also, one thing to note is that the Chinese stocks typically serve as a hedge on the market. When the market starts pulling back and starts selling, you are going to see Chinese stocks going up, right? So that is also something that the smart money, what they do is that they sell and take profits from their American stocks that they've made lots of money from and put it into Chinese stocks, right? And then they can benefit from that. So this Chinese stocks have been beaten down and they have lots of room to rally. So Baba is one of them. Another one that I'm also watching is Baidu. That's the Google of China. Baidu, Google of China, right? So it has this interesting pattern here. So here it's been going, and is at the middle now, right? What needs to happen is that it needs to break above this $95 level, weekly level, and then squeeze, right? But I believe that it's going to do the usual thing that Chinese stock do, which is gap ups. It can just gap up tomorrow and gap up above this trend line, and it's going to be off to the races. So Baidu is a stock that you can watch for day trading, and you can trade it accordingly, or you can swing it. Okay. All right. So we are just coming to an end here. We have a few more tickets here. So I'll go to the small cap stocks. Small cap stocks listed in the Russell 2000. Okay. One of them that I'm going to be watching is a crypto stock, right? If remember what we did for BTC, if BTC breaks out of this bull flag, I'm going to be looking to trade Riot. Riot is a Bitcoin miner. Okay. So if you look at this, let me take off the lines. Riot, oops. Riot has been trading within this area, and it finally broke the 200 on the weekly, and it's trading somewhere here. And I believe that Riot is ready for further breakouts. So if Riot can master strength and push above this weekly trend line, I believe that Riot is going to break out and go to like $20. So for day trading purposes, I'm going to be watching Riot closely to day trade it if Bitcoin shows strength. So I'll not be surprised if I see Riot at $20 or at least $15 or $16 by the end of the week. Then we can get to 17 thereafter. So here, this is consolidating here, and I believe that we are going to get a breakout if Bitcoin is strong. Okay, so these are mining companies which mine Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other cryptos. So why these stocks follow Bitcoin is that anytime their value, the value of the company is based on how much Bitcoin they have been able to mine. Okay. And then the more Bitcoin they have, they make more money if Bitcoin rallies. Okay. So if Bitcoin rallies, then these guys, their stock price is going to go up as well. So we shall see how Bitcoin does, and we'll trade this accordingly in the live day trading group, those that have subscribed to the service. Next one I have here is bull for bull flag. So here, bull is Weibo, okay? This is Weibo. So Weibo, let me take off the lines just to make it easy on the eye. So bull for bull flag, we have let me go to 6. We have a nice inverse head and shoulders here. So in our swing trading service, that was 2 weeks ago, we caught this move on bull, right? 42% move on the equity, right? We caught the move in the option swing trading service. So here, bull is looking to continue going up again. That is if it's able to crack through, so you see this trend line here that I have on my chart here. I need bull to crack through it, right? If it can gather strength. So here, it's been choppy, it's been consolidating. It needs to go and push and blast through. So if it can get above $18 or $19, I believe that bull can go to breakout and go to $20, right? So I'm going to be watching bull this week and trading it accordingly, right? If it sets up in a day trading sense, okay? Another one that everybody in the retail trading industry is following is open. So open is an interesting one. So here, this is an example of when the party stops, music stops, the stock is going to sell. So right now we are consolidating here above let me take off the lines. We are consolidating here above the 5 and then the 9. So if you're able to gap up, if you're able to break out from here, this can go back to $5, and there's a lot of retail chasing this stuff. So when this thing starts moving, it's going to move like crazy, right? And we sort of fill the gap here. It's not yet done, but I believe that this can break out from here and go. So we shall see how it plays out. But if it fails, if it's not able to recover and fails, then this is going to come down and possibly go to the 200. So I'm watching this for a long this week. If it plays out, if it doesn't work out, we can also short it as well and come here at least for this gap. So open is one of them. Okay. Yeah. So another one that I'm looking to short here is this one, Unity. So again, in the swing trading service, we caught this move on Unity here. Sorry, it's not. This is yeah, July. Caught this move. Caught this beautiful move on Unity, right? And now it's pulled back. And I believe that we are going to. I'm looking for either it fills the gap. So it's two things. This is looking to form what looks like a bear flag. Okay. So this is your flagpole. So bear flag means that we're going to go down, right? We're going to go down and then fill this gap here. Then once we fill this gap, you're going to hold here and then reverse. So I'm going to look for a quick short day trading where I'm targeting $30 level, in, out, make my money, walk away, right? This one. So that's an area where I'm going to be watching to trade this. So this, I'm more bearish on this, but anything can happen on Monday. If on Monday we get a green candle that is higher than this, that means that we are about to reverse. That means that green has wiped out red. The momentum has shifted. We are going to go back up and at least get here. But if I see more red candles, then we are going to come in for this gap here. Gap here, actually, at 29. And we'll hold there 20, right? Okay. So yeah, so that's about it for here. Last but not the least, I have the Robinhood. So I believe Robinhood has this earnings. Let's look at where they're having their earnings. Robinhood has earnings. Okay. Oh, Wednesday. So Robinhood had earnings. Again, in the day trading, in the swing trading service, we caught this beautiful swing trade on Hood. We shorted it. You see here from here, the stopping tail. So here, upsloping trend line, 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch, boom. So we shorted this. I lettered it to members, and we bought the 105 puts, and we caught it to this place. So I told members once it gets here to this 9 EMA area, you have to sell to the $100 level. You want to sell, and we were able to get it to come to all the way to 98. So this on the 105 puts went as high as 400% plus. So if you are if you want to multiply your money on a weekly basis, then you want to join our swing trading service. And in the swing trading service, we every week. So you come to our website. If you want to sign up, you come to our website here. You go to courses. And so here, this weekly alert service. So over here, every week I post my top 3 tickets. Top 3 tickets that I'm watching to swing, like go swing trade. Swing trading means that you're holding the trade for a day or more. It could be a day, it could be 1 week, it could be 2 weeks, right? And one of our top picks for last week was Robinhood. And on Monday, I alerted it to members. On Tuesday, so we sold some. On Monday, we made 100% return on the trade. We held some runners and then I sell the rest on Tuesday. The ones that we held on Tuesday, those ones went to 400% or higher, right? So within 2 days of the week, we've already made 4x return on our capital. We don't need to trade anymore. We're done for the week. We wait, rinse and repeat for the next week. Okay. So if you want to sign up for the service, it's a very affordable service here, weekly alert service. It's only $47 USD per month, and then you get to get my top picks. And then when I take them with my money, I'll let it as well and let you know. then you can buy it, right? And then you can follow through with me in terms of when I sell, I'll let you know I've sold. When I'm taking profit, when I'm holding some, I'll let you know that. And most members that join this service within the first week, they already made their annual subscription times 2, times 3, times 4 already, right? We're just taking just a few trades, right? So this is like if you're looking to multiply you make passive income from the market, pull money from the market on a weekly basis, this is the service for you, right? So I do extensive research and come up with the top 3 tickets that I want to trade. So whichever one triggers, I alert it, we take the trade, we all make money from it. And so this week we've already so members we've already posted the key 3 stocks that we are looking at this week, and I don't talk about those 3 stocks in the live stream, the free live stream. No. So that is only for members, subscribers. Okay. So here, this is a $47 service per month. And if you want to day trade with me live every day, so again, if you want to make money on a weekly basis, you sign up for the alert service. But if you want to make money from the market on a daily basis, this is the service for you, right? Rich Day Trade. So here we trade live. I trade live with the futures and options traders. I trade live with them every single day, 5 days a week, right? So we start with the futures guys. We talk about the game plan for futures. We trade the NQ or ES, or some people are trading gold, other things. We trade together. And then from there, we go to the options. We also trade the options as well. So we could be trading Apple, we could be trading Amazon, whichever one it is, we trade it together. And then there's a lot of lessons that members learn from this service. So this service here is also very affordable. It's $97 USD per month. And this is equivalent to less than $5 per month, per day, right? If you trade with me, because there are 20 days in a week, and I trade with members 20 days in the month. So every single day we are trading, and this week there's going to be FOMC. We are also going to trade the FOMC together as well. Okay. So yeah, so that's about it for the live stream here. Let me see if you guys have any. Let me see if you guys have any. Let me see if you guys have any questions, and I'll be happy to answer them. Let me check the chat to see which questions. No questions so far. If you have any questions, please put your question in the chat so that I can answer them right away. Okay. So yeah, I don't see any questions. So I assume that everybody's good. I assume that everybody's good. So if there are no questions, we shall meet again next week, Sunday. And those that are in the mastermind group and those that are in the day trade and swing trading service, you guys are going to hear from me on Monday and in the days ahead. Okay. Have a good night, guys. Have a great rest of the weekend and trade safe. We have a wonderful trading week. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Bye for now.